All right, guys, let's connect today. April 13th, 2025, coming out for our live stream. Today is the premiere of Last of Us Season 2, Episode 1. Should air today at 9 o'clock, and that's pretty cool because I'm excited for this season. I believe it was just, greenlit for a third season, so we'll have to see what that holds, but talk a little bit about potential things that could happen this season, season 2, of course, and spoiler warning, because if you don't know the video games, you don't know what's happening there, you don't want to know, please stop watching now, because I think they're going to do what happens in the game on the show, because they're going to expand on some things, obviously, but we'll get into that for the next hour. But hopefully you're doing well. Let me know your thoughts, post your comments below. I definitely want to see how we're doing and what's going on with you here. This year's flying by so far. April 13th, we're the 4th month of the year. I'm One Eye Bri, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about The Last of Us. That's really what we're focused on a little bit here. I don't know what else can we talk about, guys. I'm watching Billions, still watching, other little shows here and there. I'm still watching Entourage, just to throw it on. It's actually the 20th anniversary of Entourage on HBO. So that's kind of crazy. It was, 25 years last year of Sopranos and 20 years of Entourage. 2 great shows. So how are we doing, everybody? Hey, Tim, Big Tree, Hard, Nixie, Carol. Hopefully everybody's doing well. I've been working hard on my next Fight For Us series. So I definitely am excited to see where it's going and where it takes us. And I was thinking about stuff all the time about where it can go, what's going to lead to the next future books, because the story means a lot to me. And I can imagine if you're any sort of writer, creator, it's very important to continue on with the story. And, it was kind of one of those crazy things with The Walking Dead, because it ended so abruptly. I felt like the comic, that is. And it was one of those things where you're like, okay, will they make 200 issues? Nope. Just ended here. And then, they're saying all these things and doing all this stuff. And, are they just drawing out because they could leave it open for Carl to lead? Are they still doing that? And then it didn't happen with Rick. When Rick died, can a show rebound? And that's kind of been the thing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Iron Man. If you haven't been there from the beginning, which Iron Man was, he's basically who we're following a lot of the story. He's connected with so many things. And then he dies in Endgame. Where are we going after that? And yes, there's bigger things here, and Thunderbolts comes out, and Captain America, but then new Captain America, and certain people are still there, and we'll have to see, how Doctor Doom is, and Avengers Doomsday or whatever is going to be crazy, because that's a big kind of bridge gap movie. But we'll have to see what happens with everything, and there's a lot of I've never seen it in a show or a movie where they're like, guess who's all coming back? Look at all these people that are coming back for Avengers Doomsday. It's X-Men and this, and it's just crazy. So, Jonathan Wilder, Q&A, how are you? I'm doing well. It's been one of those crazy years. I have to get ready for my golf trip coming up very soon. The Masters is going on right now, if you guys care about that. It seems awesome. I've watched pretty much a lot. This is the most Masters I've watched throughout, if you like golf or not. But 2 major players are in the final group for today to see who wins the green jacket. And it's pretty cool. It doesn't really get any better than this if you're a golf fan, unless Tiger or somebody else was there. But he's not, because he just got hurt and surgery of his Achilles. And so, but I'm doing well, John. How are you? How's everybody doing here today? Taking the time to be here. I truly appreciate it on this premiere day of The Last of Us Season 2. So episode 1 is 1 of 7 episodes. I believe the runtime is an hour. They're going to set up some things. And for those who don't know about The Last of Us, we followed Ellie and Joel. And in the video game, you play as Joel. And couple things with Ellie. but it's basically the Joel and Ellie story. And then the second game, it's more of the Ellie story. And Joel's still there. But some pretty big stuff happens with Joel that changes the dynamic of everything. Because of a character, Abby. And we're going to meet Abby probably right away in these, because again, it's only 7 episodes. It's kind of a weird number to have 7 episodes, but that's what we get. I believe season 3 was greenlit, and we should get a 3rd season. We're going to probably get more backstory and continuation of story and expansion of story of Dina and Jesse and Tommy. And I guess Joel and Ellie and a bunch of people there too. So we'll have to see how it plays out with Ellie and Dina, who is Ellie's girlfriend is Dina. And so we'll have to see what happens with Maria and who lives and who doesn't and where it goes from there. So we'll meet Abby, and Abby in the video game is this huge, muscular woman, which is not a really good look because she's a little too much. And the fact what she does to Joel is way too much. And then we're supposed to like her because it's kind of what they decided. But Abby is played by a much skinnier woman than who was portrayed in the video game. So we'll have to see how it plays out for the future of the series and everything there too. But we're all gonna tune in to see if and probably when it happens with Abby and Joel. Jonathan Wilder Q&A, are you ready for next week? Just 6 more days till WrestleMania. Which match are you looking forward to the most? So I'm definitely excited for WrestleMania. You have to go with Cody Rhodes and John Cena, even though it has to be Cody winning and John Cena's last. Is it actually going to be John Cena's last match or just last WrestleMania? Because I doubt he's going to lose to Cody because John Cena is an old man and has been the champ a million times. And Cody's the future. And it's all about the future. Just like every show, every movie, everything is about the next installment, the next issue, the next chapter, the next book, the next thing, on to the next. If you're not going and growing, you're dying, is what a lot of people say. But I'm looking forward to that. And I am definitely looking forward to the Charlotte Flair match because I like her a lot, just being, how athletic she is and everything. So I don't really know the other matches too much. I'm sure there's a Jey Uso match, and I'm sure there's a this match and a that match. But, those are the big ones that I have to say right now. How about you, John? What are you looking forward to the most? Probably a CM Punk something, stuff there with, just everybody that's still the big players in the game. But we'll see. It's 2 days, I'm sure, in Vegas, Saturday and Sunday, next Saturday and Sunday, which is a lot because, the Masters golf tournament's going on. Next week is the WrestleMania, and then probably a little break, and then the Kentucky Derby is the 3rd. And so I got to get together my stuff going for my golf trip coming up too. So there's all this stuff going on, plus working, plus the house, plus there, it's a lot of pluses, Slizzle 2290, why do you think Abby looks miniature compared to the game? Well, because it's much easier to have an actress in the video game that's muscular because it's just polygons and it's just CGI and it's just this and you can do it. And I think it's a misstep to have Abby be so muscular. And just like Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan does well to play Negan as personality and even somewhat in his face. But the body, he was way too skinny. In the comic, he's huge. He's Henry Rollins, basically, is the look and the just idea of the character. Abby, probably the actress, is going to play the actress and character very well, but she's not super muscular, super buff, and I actually like it better that she could be muscular, but I feel like Linda Hamilton style, ripped. And in a zombie apocalypse dystopian universe, you're not going to be so muscular like all the time. And yes, there's body types, and yes, there's abilities, and yes, there's working out, and yes, there's exercising and eating. But for the most part, I would assume most people would be skinny, except in The Walking Dead, where the characters are what they are. But there are body types and everything going for it. And again, it's just there too. So John says, I'm looking forward to both the men's and the women's triple threat matches. To be honest, I'm sick. You're sick of Charlotte, really? Well, I like Charlotte because like Ric Flair, and I think Charlotte is a great gymnast, and so it's pretty awesome to see just what she can do. Hopefully, it comes back, but again, she's supposed to be over the top, and she is too. So Carol says that she was charged for a pay-per-view wrestling event by $49, so hopefully they took it off and credited you for it. But did you at least watch it, Carol, or not? But yeah, it's always crazy. That's why I'm glad I just have internet and streaming services. Like, I don't have a cable box or anything anymore, because they kind of get you with that, and little things here and there add up, But how about you guys? What are you watching? What are you checking out? I have not seen the Minecraft movie yet, but I'm interested in it for sure. After watching the trailer, seeing Jason Momoa and Jack Black, it just seems like they're a good comedy duo. I think Jack Black really with anybody would work, and Jason Momoa can be silly but also a muscular type, so it works, for a variety of different reasons too. So got that. Like I said, we're watching Billions still. We just started White Lotus. The White Lotus is an HBO Max show. And this third season, we're 2 episodes in, and it is slow. Besides the beginning, like it picks up, but then it's like 1 week later, 1 week earlier. And it's like, okay, where's this going? And they have to build up the backstory, and it's got to be this, and it's got to be that. And has anybody watched The White Lotus? I mean, don't give anything away. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but is anyone watching it? Yeah, Karen says, no, it wasn't even home. They gave me credit. Well, maybe somebody watched it. No, I mean, if it's a mistake, it could definitely happen. But somebody was like, I'm watching this pay-per-view. Slizzle23 says, I'm getting Max just for The Last of Us, so hopefully the library is good. Oh, it's definitely worth it. I think HBO Max is worth the money because you also get to watch like TNT, TBS, like different stuff through Max. And plus, if you haven't seen The Sopranos or Entourage or True Blood or any of the other shows that were HBO shows, they have good movies, shows. Of course, The Last of Us Season 1, Last of Us Season 2. And that's definitely a worth an option there too. And I like the idea of getting it for like 2 months because The Last of Us, if you haven't seen the first season, definitely watch that. And you should watch it before starting the second season, obviously. But it's 7 weeks. So you watch it on the 13th. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 25th is the last Sunday. Cancel it before the 31st and don't even take it into June, man. But you might keep it. You might watch it. Unless there was a deal for like 6 months or something, then definitely. But I'm a big fan of HBO Max. I think they do a good job with it. And Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon and everything else. There's a lot of good options. Tim says, watch The Bondsman with Kevin Bacon 1 season. If they do a second, I'd like it to get better. So yeah, I've seen that as an option on Amazon. I haven't seen it yet, just like I haven't watched G20 with Viola Davis, which she's like really muscular. Not really muscular, but she's like ripped. She's like lean muscle in the picture for on Amazon. John, I have not checked out anime yet, and to be honest, I probably will not. Slizzle22 says, by the way, I abandoned cable months ago. Best decision I've ever made. Saved money and get everything I want. Exactly. So, like, it's all about saving money right now, right? If you can save money on shows, streaming services, there and there, because, I mean, the internet alone is getting close to $100 where I live in Tampa Bay. And that's getting crazy. So $100 for that. Plus streaming services. I buy the Amazon. My wife gets Netflix. And, we kind of cut things here and there. But you got to cut costs from time to time, especially with the cost of groceries and gas and living. You got to cut back a little bit until they have a bundle of all bundles where you're going to get 2 or 3 or 4 streaming services. Like, eventually, hopefully, the streaming services are going to go down in price. I mean, I doubt it, but so did everything when it first came out, right? Everything was pretty expensive when it first came out. TVs, VCRs, DVD players, flat panel TVs, 4K TVs, you know, all these different things. Every time it's just one of those things that you can have. But as time goes by, everything goes down in price. Now, streaming is probably the way of the future. It's just better for everything. You're at home. You can pause it. You can, come back. It's just so many more options. And a lot of things are going up. They're putting everything up right away or a couple episodes to start and whatever. But I really hope Walmart and Target and whatever, they join the streaming thing so you can have an account through them that also builds towards that, and you have an option. Like, I would love to have a Sam's Club Plus membership, a Walmart Plus, and a streaming service included with both of those memberships. Then that would be pretty awesome. Or Target joins up with this, and if you had Disney and ESPN and Hulu and something else as they've done before, they really have to get into the bundle game, because I think you'll just have it there as well. Yeah, John, I'm sure I am missing out, and it's just nothing against it. It got other stuff to watch and be of that. And maybe one day, maybe I'll get into it. It's definitely an option for sure. But yeah, like I said, guys, we're doing well. We're taking it in stride. Hopefully you're staying warm. It's pretty warm here in Florida. It was actually really nice yesterday, so I did some yard work and trimmed up some trees and bushes and everything as well. And I gotta repaint the house, so I'm scratching off the old paint and doing everything. And it's nice when it's not 1,000,000,000 degrees and you're sweating terribly. So got to do that little by little by little. It adds up, and it's definitely a thing that we have to keep it going and growing for sure. Big Tree says, I've been playing AC Shadows on the PS5 and waiting on Days Gone Remaster on 4/25. So yeah, I definitely might pick up the Days Gone for my PS5. Right now, I just been playing Fortnite, and I got to get back to playing my Spider-Man game. I'm excited for it, and again, there's like not enough time in the day. Like, from waking up, like, I don't know about you guys, but there's days that I wake up, and I'm like, I get up, I got to do something, come here, leave the house, come back, go to the gym, come here, store, there, house stuff, lunch, that, laundry, whatever, boom, boom. Next thing you know, it's dinner time, and the day is gone with all these things. And it's going to be nice to have a day or two, or hopefully a long weekend. Hopefully like Memorial Day weekend would be nice, because you get to relax, take the extra day, take that time, and be able to have that extra 24 hours to relax a little bit. And, I'm trying to do more and more editing of my book and cleaning it up. So I've learned the process, better and better and better. And that's what I've always recommended, is take your time editing it. Very important, because once it's out, it's out. And I mean, I can change it and go back in and re-edit the file and then put it up, because it's digital stuff. And especially if you buy the book stuff on Kindle, or even if you buy it as paperback, it can just change it as the file when it's made, because the books that I use and how I have it is, the books aren't created until there's an order, which is much better, because a lot of books are printed and they just sit there, and it's a waste of paper, time, energy. And I actually love the idea of the digital stuff, because it saves resources and everything too. So Carol says, when does Dead City return? So Dead City returns on... Man, I'm blanking on the time. May... Is it 11th? I can't remember, but I know it's May. I know it's definitely May, but again, it's a couple weeks into May that we're going to be there too. But I know that it'll be here before you know it, and I believe it's 8 episodes. So, yeah, so like I said, I could be wrong, but I think it's May 11th. Which is good. That'll be wrapping up. Dark Winds will be over, and then that'll be the next show on AMC. I have not watched Dark Winds besides the first episode, May 4th, Oh, it's May 4th. So that's even better, May 4th. And so I haven't watched the Dark Winds at all, the first episode, but I'll watch it again. I'll get back into it. It's just, again, time, managing stuff, putting it into it, putting your efforts into it. And because when we're trying to do too much, like multitasking, something suffers. Something definitely has where we can't really get the right track on things because we're doing too much. And I've seen it all the time in therapy because people come to us for balance and recovery and everything. And I want to be people to focus, slow down, get everything back on track, and just be taking our time to do it right. Everything's go, go, go all the time. And then when we go and we rush, something takes a hit, and sometimes when people are coming to me, it's balance and safety. So that's a huge thing. That is the building block of our hierarchy of needs, is safety and security. And that comes around in multiple ways, but definitely with balance too. Jonathan Wilder, did you hear about the new Last of Us game release? What are your thoughts? I don't know, because I don't know if that's the Last of Us, like it's the next installment, because I've only seen bits of the information, and it was like the Last of Us complete series or something, complete saga or something. Is it actually going to be a continuation of the second game? Because it ends with Ellie still being alive, going out to the woods, and I don't know what happens after that. So I'm hoping there's a third installment, which would be really good to see, because we want to have some sort of continuation of the story. And the gameplay is always good, and The Last of Us is definitely still a good franchise. And a lot of people didn't like the second game, and I understand why, but it does continue the story in a good way that draws us in, that's for sure. Carol asks a good question. Who's your favorite Lauren Cohan character, Bella from Supernatural or Maggie from The Walking Dead? So I only know her from Maggie and The Walking Dead. I don't know her from Bella, as Bella from the Supernatural series, but I have to go with Maggie then because I don't know her as Bella, but the same actress, and but I guess I'll go with Maggie. Sluzzle2290 says, not enough time in the day. I agree, and don't even have kids yet. So yeah, there's always 24 hours in a day, right? It doesn't mean like we're running out of time. Like, you don't get less hours when you get older. You still get the same 24 hours. It just takes us longer to do things. Like, it takes us longer to accomplish a task or get going in the morning or whatever it is. So our time is devoted to other things that we didn't have to take us as long to do things. And that's why we run out of time, or we're doing more and more and more and more and more things. And so that's where the time goes. Father Time and Mother Nature and whatever else are undefeated. They're never going to stop. They're never going to do that. We're always going to run out of time. We don't have enough time. Time is the great equalizer of every body, every living thing on this planet. Whether you're rich, you're poor, you're young, you're old, you have the same amount of time each day. What we do with that time is up to us, up to you. Now, sometimes we got to get a lot of stuff done. And then sometimes we get to take a break. And I remember being a high school student, being a teenager, and just being bored out of my mind certain times. And it felt like, oh, God, I would love for something to do right now. Growing up in New Jersey, it was frustrating, and it was one of those things where you're like, oh, I'm so bored. Then you would go do something stupid, like go to the bowling alley or go to the mall or go to Denny's or go here or do this, go to the movies. Just waste time. Go to a friend's house, to another friend's house, to another thing to see what they're doing. Like they were doing something great, and nobody was ever doing anything that great. But now it's like, I love just to take the time, day in and day out, and break it up. Like, if you have a whole house, you going to try to clean the whole house in one day? Maybe, and then you get to rest the next day. That's good. Or you break up half one day, half the next day, if you can. But it's the decision that you try to make on there too. So enjoy what you're doing, enjoy life, enjoy happiness, and do it when you have it. It's not all good, it's not all bad, but it's a matter of perspective and doing what we do and seeing how we see things too as well, So we'll have to see what we can do to enjoy and make things, because we only have so many days, so many weeks, so many months, and so many years on this planet. And then it's like, I was talking to my wife about this, right? Like when you're younger, at least like myself, when I was younger, my parents got divorced when I was 2 years old. And so I had a broken home and I lived with my dad, and I saw my mom every other weekend, and I did this and everything there too. And they both live in New Jersey. And then I went away to college, came back and did this and valued things a little bit more. And now that I'm older and my parents are older, I value them and I see them as people and I see these things. But it's tough because I live in Florida and they live in New Jersey. And so I don't have enough time to see them. So it's all about making the time and putting them in a little more value, a little more just effort. And so I love the idea of being there and seeing them and hanging out as much as I can, because when I get older, I'll have, hopefully, if I budget right and take care of things and things are okay, there's always different circumstances, but I can hopefully be there with them more. But then they're older and they can't do as much, but I have the money and the time to go see them, or I have the money but no time, or I have the time and no money. So, and then sooner or later, your loved ones pass on, and then I can't see them and I can't talk to them. I can't have experiences with them and do all that stuff. And I can remember them and remember stuff, just like Milo, right? Like Milo was in my life for 17 and a half years, and then he wasn't. And it's coming up on 3 months. This week will be 3 months that he was gone. And it's crazy. You know, he was here for 17 and a half years of my life, day in and day out. And 3 months later, he's gone. We have Otis now, and we're going strong, but it's still like, So don't wait. Don't delay. Plan those trips today, or have plans for later this year or next year or whatever. Like my dad's going to get a knee replacement in July. He's going to get cataract surgery in June. And everything else, he's doing pretty well. His eyes are pretty good, besides the cataracts. His heart is pretty good. He had a cardiologist. He's got teeth problems, but that's just for him not taking care of it over the many, many years. And so he's doing all right. And hopefully he'll have a new lease on life after the surgery's coming up this summer. And then I'll be able to zip around and play golf and go on vacations, and we'll be able to do stuff, and I'll be doing great for the next 20 plus years, hopefully, right? But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Carol says, trust me, take time to enjoy your life. That's what I plan to do. I have a new lease on life. Exactly. Like, we're always going so fast and we're so impatient. And that's what it is like when you're driving, when you're at the store, when we're doing all these things. And then it's like people are freaking out, and you see the people at the stores and everyone's frustrated and annoyed and just crazy. And people are at their end, man. Everyone's so worried about themselves, worried about their money, worried about the goods. Like, everyone's worried about the tariffs now. The tariffs are the big thing. Before, it was the COVID, 5 years ago, and they were worried about toilet paper and worried about running out. And now they're like, the tariffs. How much is it going to cost to have the products and services that I need? And so there's all these things like, oh, an iPhone can cost $2 million now because of the tariffs. And then they're like, oh, we're not going to change this, we're not that. So I definitely think it's a good idea to potentially stock up on some things, but don't panic buy. Like, I don't know how it's going to end up, and hopefully it all works out and the tariffs kind of get put down and calmed down and everything, and we're not paying, $25 for certain products that should be $6 or whatever, and it's just something that'll be remaining there. But as the time being right now, if you have a little extra money, maybe buy a little bit there to make sure. But don't buy like 20 things of toilet paper and 60 cases of water and 5 iPhones and whatever stuff on there too, because you're like, it's gonna go up, prices are gonna go up. Like, if we can calm down a little bit too, but it's just going to be one of those things where you're like, okay, I need to buy a phone, or I need to buy this at the time, or I need to buy a laptop. How much is it going to cost? hopefully not a crazy time. Hopefully not $3,000 for a $500 laptop. But, it's just a waiting game to see. But other than that, guys, Last of Us tonight. Other shows, movies, what are you watching? What are you excited for? Because there's a lot of good stuff that's coming out later this year. Like, I am interested in the Superman movie that comes out in, I think it's the 4th of July movie, I believe. Thunderbolts comes out in May. I'm going to call it Peacekeeper. Is that what it is? Peacemaker, whatever it is. The one with John Cena. That comes out in August, I believe now. The DC James Gunn show. And then after that, I don't know what else is really coming out later this year. I'm not sure. What are other movies or shows that we're going after that we're excited for that's coming out this summer and then later this year? Anything coming out that's big that I'm missing? But see, like, Jeannie, why would rent go up? That has nothing to do with tariffs. That has nothing to do with anything. That has to do with property taxes, value of homes, value of apartments, value of buildings. Like, I don't know, like, why that would be there too. Like, I feel like that was back when, but you're right. They can charge whatever they want. I don't know. That's the biggest thing too, is Naked Gun reboot. Yeah. With Liam Neeson. We'll have to see how that is. As he is watching Dark Winds. Adrian says, watching The Walking Dead again. So did you restart it? Are you watching it on Netflix there from the beginning? Yeah, so hopefully, Jeannie, the rent doesn't go up, and, we got to do what you got to do, and hopefully it just maintains at least then too, because that's a tough thing from the standpoint of living check to check. It's a scary spot. That's for sure. Adrian, DVDs, huh? Going old school. DVDs up to season 8. What season are you on now then, Adrian? Like, I don't mind DVDs and physical media. Like, I wonder if that's going to come back around again. Mobland, is that good, Merlin? I haven't seen that yet. Oh, I got to talk about 1923. Let me talk about that for a little bit. So, I have not seen Mobland yet. But Tim's my Taylor Sheridan fan, 1923, Yellowstone, PREQUEL, among others, I would assume. But I know Tim definitely likes it. Hopefully you guys have checked out Yellowstone, 1883, 1923. And then I believe the next chapter after 1923, yeah, Thunderbolts comes out as like May. What is that? May what? Is that May 2nd or May 1st or whatever? When does Thunderbolts come out? So, 1923, 2 seasons. It's all over the place. And they wrap it up in the final series finale. I watched it on Monday. And it was pretty good. I mean, I really like Spencer a lot. Obviously, he's the best character. There's a lot of shootouts. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of story. And just when you're feeling like... So Spencer's wife is a character that I personally really didn't like excuse me, for the series until the end. And then you're like, well, that's crap. And so they're going to be... Yeah, 1944... You're right. So Tim says 1944, and then there's like a Madison. The Madison is another spinoff of Yellowstone. So 1944 is obviously 21 years later. It ends at like 1924 is where this is. So like 20 years later. And I would love the guy who played Spencer to reprise his role just with prosthetics and whatever to make him older. Because he did a good job. I thought he was a good actor. And so did Helen Mirren, and so did Harrison Ford, and so did Robert Patrick, and so did a lot of the actors. But a lot of those were old to begin with. And so I don't want to give too much away, but they did set up the next installment And that's kind of what these shows are doing. Again, on to the next, right? Everything's on to the next, on to the next, on to the next show. And so it was 1883 was the first spinoff. Then 1923. Then I'm guessing 1944. And then where did we go? Like 1962 or whatever? Like whenever John Dutton III is born, or a younger kid. Probably like a teenager. And whoever that's cast, because that's the main character of Yellowstone. So it would work to see what happens with John Dutton III, which is Kevin Costner's character. So like 1967. That's fine too. Like whatever the dates are, like, and I'm sure Taylor Sheridan does his homework and the dates match up and whatever. And I really don't care of 1883 was this year and 1923 and how many years in 1944 and whatever. Like, I just hope it makes sense with certain things, and hopefully it's good. And, you know, I care about the characters, and I care about, you know, every show I've liked a bunch of the characters, you know, in Yellowstone. Does anybody watch Yellowstone? Who were your favorite characters in there? And how about, you know, 1883? I liked a lot of those characters too, but that was one season. In 1923, I liked a good amount of characters, but there were some you didn't like for sure. And then you had characters redeem themselves and everything, which was good. And the writing was what it was, and it was good, but it definitely was rushed. I feel like it should have been 3 seasons. Spencer should have came home, but it was basically building it up, one season. Second season, building it up, over. Okay, done. And that's okay. I mean, it still was interesting, and I still like what Taylor Sheridan does, but it's definitely something that just felt a little rushed. There were a lot of people, like Tim and myself, felt like it was rushed. So, but we get what we get, and we don't get upset. You know, it's how it is. And it shows, and, you know, the writer's strike and the actor's strike, and then this and that. And, you know, there's a lot of other things that go into it. And so Taylor Sheridan wrote the entire, you know, 1923. But I feel like he's doing a million other things too. So he's doing this, and he's doing that, and over here and over there. Like, again, when you're doing too many things, it gets caught up and something suffers. And it was still a good show, but I feel like it could have been a little bit better with time and focus, just like anything, too. Like, I don't care about the Game of Thrones books, but look at George R. R. Martin, his books, right? He wrote all those books. He has supposedly 2 books left, and he still hasn't finished The Winds of Winter, or whatever the book's called. And people are like, do people even care? Does anybody care about that still? Because it's taking forever. And he did the Game of Thrones show, and now he's doing House of Dragon and Dark Winds and doing that and doing this, and he's doing so many things, and he's probably making millions and millions of dollars every year, hopefully. And so it's like, huh. But if he was just writing that one book, focusing on that one thing, he would probably have been done, hopefully, many months ago, and hopefully it would have been awesome and amazing and great. But, you know, it is what it is. Man, Adrian, up to where Carl shoots himself. Remember that? Remember when Carl shot himself? Remember when Carl got bit? Remember when Carl had the final goodbye of things? And they stretched it out and drew it out and did all this and did all that too. And then we see Carl, Michonne, and Rick in the burnt up house. And we hear a single gunshot. And people are like, I think Carl's alive. We never saw a body. We never saw a thing. We didn't see who was underneath the white sheet. Who did Rick bury? We didn't see it happen. He can come back. And you're like, well, no, they didn't show it because, I don't know. Was it drama? They didn't want to have the prosthetics of him shooting himself, the CGI, budget, symbolism, like, well, whatever they were doing. And it was very sad for how it goes. So, but yeah, that was really the beginning of the end for a lot of people in season 7. Because season 6 to me is the best season. And then season 7 is like one of the worst. It gets better in season 8, but then it's like you're killing off so many characters and people, and the story is just going to be all over the place now. And people are leaving, and people are this, and it's like, you know, they did a decent job trying to put it all together, but when you're like losing enough big characters and actors, you're like, Sim says, hopefully Sheridan remembers the writing in Yellowstone where John talks about his grandfather Spencer loses a leg. Yeah, I mean, hopefully. I mean, it's got to be tough, too. So, like, I understand when you get a bigger universe in your story or comic or show or whatever, it's tough to have certain things, like, line up and match up in this, too. So, like, my Fight for Us next series, there's a time jump from the end of the last series to the beginning of this series. So there's several years have gone by. And I'm trying to connect the dots in a way that makes sense and is rewarding to readers and stuff that you remember, like, what about that? What about here? What about that? Remember this? Remember those people? Remember what happened with those? And you know, remember The Walking Dead? You're like, what about this? We wanted to know like everything all the time about every character, every group, every society, every, you know, person that was of significance to us. What about this? What about that? What about here? What about there? You know? And it was so meaningful because we cared about it so much. And hopefully people buy into the Fight for Us universe and they enjoy it and they love it and they're excited about it to continue on. And I want it to be rewarding about the characters that are still around. And I like the idea of it being not a fresh new take, but a fresh start that connects the dots with the original there too. You know, having it come back around again. I thought it'd be nice. And it's got to be tough when you have so many different showrunners. I mean, I thought Angela Kang did a pretty good job when she took over for Scott Gimple. And Gimple did a good job too, like early on. He just really messed up season 7 and season 8. But he did really great with seasons 4, 5, and 6. But 7 and 8, not so much. So people only remember the bad a lot of times too. Like, I don't know what it is, but the bad outweighs the good for so many people. Well, yeah. So what seasons do you like the best? Well, I like 4, 5, and 6 of The Walking Dead. It's really like the best part of the series and for a lot of people, and it draws people in and does good. And some people like season 3, and that was good. But you're like, oh, yeah. But that Gimple, he sucks, man. He did 4, 5, and 6. Nah. Are you sure? Yep. Okay. But he still killed off Carl. He killed off this, killed off Sasha, killed off Abraham and Glenn, killed off everything. And you're right. And if your favorite character was Glenn or Abraham, I don't know. It was there. Carol says, do you know if Talking Dead will ever return? It was helpful. I don't think so. I think Talking Dead was just really for The Walking Dead. And it was crazy because The Talking Dead was definitely necessary to get the best benefit out of The Walking Dead, which I've never seen before, ever. I've never seen, and now it's a thing where you have the Game of Thrones after show and this after show and that after show, and they love their after shows. But Talking Dead just really expanded on things. And they had little Easter eggs and callbacks and things you might have missed. And they had little things too, especially if they had a person that died in that episode. And it was really good to like have the final goodbye and in memoriam. And that's why it was such a crazy thing with Fear the Walking Dead, and Madison was on it, but then she comes back. And it was just like, you never saw that with Glenn when he was under the dumpster. You never saw that with other people that have supposedly like had a fake out death, but then came back. But Madison like clearly died, but then she didn't die, obviously, because she came back, and they were like, "Oh, fooled you." Hopefully you know that reference, what movie it's from. What's with you, man? So like, it was definitely something that it was a good thing to have a little more expansion of the universe. And Talking Dead was a good part of that too. And like, they did a good thing with guests and bring people on. And it was cool to see that. It was really good. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely something. And I love the idea that, and Adrian asks, will there be a Morgan Rick reunion? I hope there is a Morgan, Rick, and Daryl reunion. I don't know what's going to happen with Daryl Dixon season 3 and beyond. Dead City season 2 and beyond. Any other spin-off shows on there too. But eventually The Walking Dead, they have to wrap it up. Even if Daryl Dixon is 6 seasons and Dead City is 5-6 seasons, like wrap it up. Enough. Like yes, Negan, Lucille 6.0, the city, the battle for the city, electricity, power, struggle, the bricks, Maggie, New Babylon Marshals. There's stuff that's interesting. But Daryl, come on. Get back home. Get back to the Commonwealth. I don't know how much time has passed since Daryl went away, Rick went away, reunited with Michonne, and they came back. I would assume enough time has passed where Daryl can be back with Carol and they can make it back home to Ohio. I would like to see more connections with the post-credits scene of World Beyond, but I doubt we're going to get that because they're in London, even though they filmed in Spain for calling it London for season 3, I believe. And it is what it is. It's just filler. It's just bringing people along to get Daryl and Carol along in their journey. There's nothing of significance, in my opinion. There's nothing of relevance that's super important in the Walking Dead universe anymore. The main show is over. This is like DLC Walking Dead to see how it is. Do people still watching it? Sure. Is it enough people? I don't know. But I don't know how you could have done it any bigger except to have Daryl, Carol, Maggie, Negan, Morgan, Rick, and Michonne all in the show. But Rick and Michonne are 2 of the biggest characters, and I don't really know how much it was viewed and how many people watched it. And it was okay. It was a story. I don't know how great it was for a lot of people, but it was good to see Rick and Michonne again, and always is. And then how they reunite with RJ and Judith, and Rick meets RJ, and that's a nice, good finishing thing. And remember, I was like, Rick's going to die because of the comic. Rick's going to die because of this. And Rick survived. Daryl's still going to be the last man standing. So I have no fear ever that Daryl's going to die. And I think it would be really sad if Carol died. But she could die in the very last episode of the Daryl Dixon show. But I doubt that. Kind of said the same thing about Rick, but I doubt that. You know, it could happen. But we'll have to see. Adrian asks, what seasons of Fear the Walking Dead do you like? I think that's season 6. But they always had like good half seasons. There's really very few, if any, good full seasons. I think the 6th season is the best season overall, and then half of season 2, half of season 3, half of this, half of that, here, there. Morgan shows up, John Dory's introduced, June this, that. You know, it's like a good thing to have, and it was interesting, but it was just too much all over the place. That was another one where I was like, what are we doing here, guys? What are we doing with this show? But it's okay. It was just interesting to see, you know, how it went with Walking Dead universe, and it's just one of many universes that are out there. But it's okay. It's just a show and move on with our life, and it's entertainment. And, it's great. It's a good escape. That's what it's good to have. It was a great escape for that, with Walking Dead or Marvel, DC, Breaking Bad, whatever. It's just a good thing to escape reality and get into their wrestling anime. But yeah, I definitely, I'm still liking the Billions show. If you haven't seen it, it's on Paramount Plus. It was a Showtime show. It's pretty interesting. Paul Giamatti's great, and I'm guessing it's Damian Lewis plays Bobby Axelrod. He does a great job. And Dale from Jeffrey DeMunn from The Walking Dead is in it, and he's pretty good too. He's it's a different kind of role for him after seeing him in The Walking Dead. But we'll have to see if they're ever going to reboot The Walking Dead or continue on, or The Walking Dead Next Generation, because there can always be more problems. There can always be more things. There can always be there too. But we have to have a protagonist, antagonist, some sort of problem and solution, and new problem and solution, and rinse and repeat over and over again. And, the bigger problem was it people? Was it walkers? Was it famine? Was it food? Was it water? Was it survival? Well, there was all these different things. And that's why a zombie apocalypse is pretty good, because if it's not one thing, it's not another. If it's not another, it's this. If it's not a virus, it's not a cold. It's not a food, it's not a water supply. It's not a zombies, it's not a person. It's not a this, it's not a that. It's like all these things come all at once. Remember with the flu in season 4? The virus that went around that killed all these people? That was a different take, but it was good. The prison was a great story arc. And so it's good. Hopefully something else will come back around and check it out. And, we'll be talking about different things. But I would try to stay positive in life. And this year's been tough. Every year has been one thing after another, after another, after another. But there's good and bad. There's the thing where it's definitely something that I definitely get frustrated like anybody else. And that's okay. We continue on, one foot in front of the other. Because stuff happened in January, February, March, April, and we're April 13th as we're talking right now. And hopefully you got your taxes done, because they are due on Tuesday. And I had my taxes done, and I had to pay a lot of money. So that changed how I'm going to have withholdings in my paycheck, 401k contributions, and everything to kind of help negate that. But it's a learning experience. It's a good problem to have, because it means I made a good amount of money of taxable income. And that's all right. If you take things that come your way as a learning experience, right? If we continue to make the same errors and mistakes and not learn from them, then it's a pattern. And if the pattern doesn't change, then we're in trouble. If we I'll give you an example. I told my dad I want him to get a camera for his house, inside his house, like in his kitchen or whatever. He was supposed to look at something on Amazon and then let me know what camera he was looking at so I can check it out. Do you think he let me know? No, he just bought one. So he bought a camera, doesn't know how to use it, doesn't know how to do anything. Had the instructions. So any kind of camera now, you have to download an app, install the app, and go through the app on your phone. I have 2 cameras in my house, so I had to do it over and over and over again, right? And so I looked into it. He didn't know what to do. He was frustrated. I tried to coach him along, and so I tried to help him. And so that's okay. He's 75 years old. He's not going to know how to do a lot of things with apps and phones and everything on there too. He thinks everything's an email. Like he texts, "Oh, I got your email." I'm like, "You mean text?" Yeah. And it's fine. It's just funny, right? And so yesterday, I'm like, I downloaded the app and I was trying to do it remotely from here, but I have to be in the same room with the camera. He's back in New Jersey. I'm in Florida. So it couldn't work. But when I go back home, I'm going to set it up and I'll be able to access the camera from there. He was like, I'm going to return it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what it is. And I'm like, don't return it. Let's figure this out. I mean, you could have bought a crappy camera and a crappy thing, but I just think he doesn't know what he was doing. So yesterday I told him, you got to do this. You got to link it to the Wi-Fi, and you have to open the camera and open up the Wi-Fi from there and connect the camera that way and then connect it there. And he did it, and he got it working. So it was a success, right? But if I didn't coach him and teach him and how to help him with it, he probably would have been doing the same problems over and over and over again and expecting a different solution. He was going to do this, try to connect it, reset it, unplug it, do this. I don't even know what he was doing. But it wasn't working. So he didn't follow the correct step to open up his Wi-Fi, connect it through the Wi-Fi of the camera, and connect it that way. And now he got it. And now he's happy, and it should be good. And hopefully when I go there, I'll be able to check it out and connect to it, and then it should be good, and the camera should be great. But it wasn't going anywhere. He was getting frustrated, and I understand that totally, but he wasn't thinking about it from a different way. He was thinking about it from this one way. But now it's a success story, and he got some help. And it's not a big deal. It's a stupid camera inside his house. But it could be a flat tire. It could be resetting the modem. It could be cleaning out your garage. It could be anything. But let's think about it logically, break it down. What can we do? What's our plan of attack? How do we do that? Whatever it is. But you have to sometimes think outside the box or take a different approach. And if we're still doing the same thing over and over again and not getting anywhere, we got to rethink it sometimes. And that's okay. When, my dad's 75 and he's a good guy, can be stubborn at times and whatever. But who isn't, right? What 70, 80-year-old, 90-year-old person isn't kind of set in their ways? I've made it this far. I know what I'm doing. And he loves to say, I know that. I know. So then my response is, all right, if you know, then what do you need my help for? You know it all. You know. Okay, great. If you know, then you know. Then what are you needing help for? I know. It's just like, But it's just funny. And that's the recent thing that's been going on with my dad, besides his upcoming cataract surgery, knee surgery, and whatever, too. And so we have to work on our communication skills always. And that's what I have to try to help him out, because I'm going to try to get up there for his surgery, but I don't know if I'm going to. It may be a couple months. It's not till July anyway. And I know he's got neighbors and people. He's going to go into rehab and stuff to help him out to do that. And I want to be able to communicate effectively. And that's what the camera was supposed to do, so I could help him figure it out. And so we're going to have to do like FaceTime or something until that comes in there. And so, but it's definitely comes from a thing where I just want him to be doing something right, because he's getting a knee replacement, and that's a major surgery. It's a big deal. And I know more about knee surgeries than he'll ever know, because it's my wheelhouse, it's my job, it's my career, it's my education. And so I want to make sure he knows that he's doing correctly, incorrectly, and why. And sometimes it's tough over the phone and not being in person. And it's tough when you deal with family members sometimes. So hopefully all goes well and we don't have to worry about it and he doesn't have any complications. But it's definitely something there too. Yeah, no, Tim says he knows where my old man is coming from. And I get it too. Like, I know. And it's frustrating. And his words aren't the best sometimes. And communication isn't the best. And that's life. And that's okay. But that's a big thing we all have to work on, is communicating, expressing the right message. It's a message of love, compassion, helpfulness, sincerity, trying to be there for the people that you care about. But sometimes it comes across as butting heads or problem or fighting and arguing. And, my dad and I argue and fight all the time. And we get over it and we move on. Some family members argue and fight and you don't ever see them again. You don't ever talk to them again. Like my mom's side of the family, for a while there, my mom was not talking to her brothers and sisters for a long time. And then all of a sudden they came around. And now we know them, and they're for holidays and for, birthdays and whatever, which is good, especially good, sincere, helpful people. So Kara asked, you being a PT helped him make the decision? Yes and no. I mean, his knee made the decision for him, and putting weight on it and the decline in function and the problems really were the main focal point. But I did tell him, because he was here in October and he was walking like a penguin. He was kind of like shuffling and making a quick step to get off the knee. And I was like, is it your hip or your knee? And he said, it's my knee. And so when you take a quick step, you offload it to take the weight off of it. And so the big thing was, that's not right. He's not putting weight on there too, and he's collapsing in chairs and breaking my toilet seat and whatever, because he can't squat down normally. And I saw his x-ray, and his lateral compartment is open, like that much space, and his medial compartment on his knee is like there's no space whatsoever, and so it's collapsed, and it's a problem. And so that's definitely a thing where it drew it up, and he needs just to have the replacement because it's bone on bone and arthritic, and he won't be able to walk right and put weight on there, especially going up and down steps and everything. So hopefully the knee replacement makes it better, and he'll be zipping around town and nice and strong and doing well, which I think a lot of my patients are doing really well, and it's the best decision they ever made, what a lot of them says. And I hope my dad says the same thing, where it's the best decision he's ever made, and that's got to be his decision. So, but yeah, I was a helping, guiding person, and that's what I try to be for him and everybody here, to kind of help, give my input, but then at the end of the day, you got to make your own decisions. But all right, guys, that's my time. I went a little bit over because I love you guys so much. But I'll be back next Sunday, and we will definitely be talking about The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 1 that airs tonight at 9 o'clock on HBO. I'm probably going to watch it tomorrow because it's fine because it's before next Sunday. But I'd watch it tomorrow because it's on so late. But I'm excited to see where it's going to go. And let me guys know. Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. And remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve it no matter what it is. I'll be back next Sunday, guys.